Hey everyone, my name is Taylor Sparks. I'm the editor-in-chief of Integrating Materials and Manufacturing Innovation, IMMI. In today's paper, we're going to talk about not just segmentation, but how we go from a segmented 2D picture of a microstructure to a 3D reconstruction. This is a big challenge. This comes to us from Angelos Theofilatos with co-authors Alexandre Viardin and Laszlo Sturz. They are at Access EV in Aachen, Germany. Okay, let's get into it. They point out that manual quantitative analysis of large microstructural databases is a challenge. And getting to what we really care about, which is often the 3D reconstruction, is tough, right? But they show that they're going to be able to do it by taking data sets generated from light optical microscopy, matching those to computed tomography, which is then going to be the ground truth, as well as phase field simulations for training, and then use that to then be able to predict the model to go from 2D to 3D. This is pretty slick. Okay, they point out in the beginning here that application of ML is being used all over the place for images in material science. You've got things that can do grain size measurement, material deformation, porosity assessment. That's wonderful. But we are still relying on a lot of time-consuming, labor-intensive manual analysis, right? And that's just not practical. Meanwhile, if you take the traditional approaches for segmentation, things like color-based detection, these don't always work well because the images that we collect in the lab have variations in contrast across the image. And so you get inconsistent results when you try and deploy them. We've certainly seen that in our own research. So instead, they say in our study here, we're going to demonstrate the use of ML to perform three-dimensional reconstruction of microstructural objects collected in two-dimensional images. The way they do that is they come up with a custom AI pipeline that's going to automate detection of microstructural objects from both light optical microscopy and CT images with the presence of intermetallics in these, right? And then it says the detection algorithm is specifically designed to handle the diverse characteristics of microstructural objects, accounting for variations in shape, color, and contrast that arise from these different imaging techniques. And then they have this synthetic training data set that allows them to now have an automated data set generation to train a model to identify these types of microstructural features. Let's take a look at it. Here's an example of one of the alloys that they're looking at here. I think this is in the aluminum iron silicon system or something. In the blue boxes, you've got the light optical microscopy images that they can use for inference. And if you zoom in on one of those, you can see that okay, inside one of these regions, there's actually a lot going on. They've got orange bounded boxes, red bounded boxes, and green, because there's different types of things present. There are three precipitate phases. You've got Al2 copper, you've got aluminum 9, iron 2, silicon 2, right? These different domains, they have to teach a model to recognize that these are different things and segment them appropriately. So here's their workflow. They're going to start with preparation and standardization of experimental data sets, again, CT and light optical microscopy. They will extract out the representative objects from those data sets, then create representative background images, and then overlay, using a generative model, these types of defects on top of that background, right? That's going to be how they generate their synthetic data set here, which is clever. Once they've got that, okay, then they can train their mask RCNN model, that's going to be their segmentation model, and then perform inference on unseen images, which again was based off of experimental data collected. And then they evaluate how well the produced masks and the contours actually match the real data from labeled examples, and then they can do process optimization to figure out what's the best model parameters for this process. And once it's done, then they can do further processing and analysis, for example, the 3D reconstruction. So maybe we just start by showing you the results of the segmentation, right? So here's the original image on the left. And again, there's multiple different ones taken from the different samples, right? But you can see that when we ask it to do the segmentation, first try and have it find the eutectic silicon. So it's able to label those in green, segment those in green. Ask it to find the ALFESI, and it's able to find those. And even multi-class, where it's able to find multiples of those at a time. And it's doing it even across these relatively complex different microstructures that we're getting from real images. And while obviously these pretty pictures sort of look nice, you actually want to assess it against actual metrics. And they show that this actually does a better job than other segmentation techniques when you consider precision and recall of these different classes that it's being asked to segment. And again, had you done this with one of the traditional approaches, say like thresholding, you can really see the difference here. So they've done half the image in red here with the new approach. This is RMask CNN model. And the other half in yellow here is just based off of thresholding, right? Where you basically say any pixel over a certain value gets bucketed in one class versus another. And you can see how it really, in the zoomed in white box here, it's doing a much better job with this mask RCNN. So this is actually an effective tool for segmentation. And once you've got that, now we need to do the 3D reconstruction. The 3D reconstruction is pretty clever. It's not physics-based, it's just shape-based is how they're doing it. It essentially is taking different objects and it's grouping different slices based off of overlapping metrics and continuity rules. It then tracks whether or not these features continue or whether they split or merge or they're newly appearing, and that's how they're able to actually generate a 3D microstructure from a 2D slice. And as you can see in the figure here, it's sort of the proof's in the pudding. You've got the original phase field model, and then you have the 3D reconstruction showing pretty good fidelity. And obviously, once you have this gives us what material scientists care about. Now we can get things like phase fraction, grain size, or growth misorientation. In other words, it's going to turn images now into quantitative data sets, which is pretty cool. So what's my takeaway? I think this is a cool demonstration of taking AI, taking 2D images, which are easier to generate, and then using that to come up with proxies for the 3D characterization, which is much more expensive and difficult to produce. I consider this a fairly big step forward in the world of sort of AI-enabled scalable materials characterization, and I hope you'll read all about it in the latest issue of IMMI.